Welcome to the Senior Techie Podcast. Did you know that families are far more likely to end up in a really bitter years-long feud over a rusty set of garage tools than they are over a $100,000 bank account?
Yeah, it sounds completely absurd, but it is entirely true.
Right. So in this conversation, we are taking a really comprehensive look at a massive stack of estate planning research. We've got guidance from the American Bar Association, the National Institute on Aging, and a really fascinating book called Who Gets Your Passwords?
Lots of great material.
Yeah, and our mission here is to help you bulletproof your physical and digital legacy. And, I want to say right up front, if you are feeling a little apprehensive or a little bit afraid that the legal world and the tech world are just moving at lightning speed and leaving you behind, you're in the exact right place.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is incredibly common to feel that way. You are not alone.
Right.
The legal system, well, it was not designed to be intuitive for the average person.
No, definitely not.
And when you layer modern technology on top of it, the friction just, it multiplies. So we are taking our inspiration from Make a Will Month.
Which is a great initiative.
It really is. It's an awareness campaign organized by legal nonprofits. And the objective here, it isn't to dwell on morbid thoughts or the end of life. The objective is actually to empower you.
Yeah, to take control.
Exactly. To give your family the ultimate gift, which is absolute, unshakable clarity when they are in the middle of a crisis and they need your guidance the most.
I love that framing. But, before we talk about how to write or update these documents, we really have to tear down the language barrier.
Oh, the jargon is the worst.
It is. Legal and tech jargon are notorious for making people feel completely excluded. So we are going to break down the mechanics of 3 terms that dictate how your estate is actually handled.
Sounds good. Let's start with a big legal term, probate.
Right, probate. We always hear about a will going into probate or, becoming public record. But what is actually happening in that room?
So the easiest way to visualize probate is to think of a public bulletin board at your local town hall.
Okay. A public bulletin board.
Right. When a will goes to probate, it is officially filed with the county court to prove that it's legally valid. The court wants to ensure there wasn't any fraud, and they want to give any potential creditors a chance to step forward.
That makes sense.
But because the court is a public institution, that document, it ceases to be a private family letter.
Oh, wow. So it literally gets pinned to that metaphorical bulletin board.
Exactly. Anyone, a neighbor, a journalist, a complete stranger can request that file and read exactly who got what and what assets you had.
Wait, I have to clarify this. You are saying that once my executor files the will at the courthouse, my nosy neighbor down the street could technically walk in and see exactly how much money I left to my grandson?
They absolutely can.
That is wild.
It is a matter of public record.
Yeah.
And that lack of privacy, it's a feature of the probate system, not a bug.
I guess I see why.
Right. The court operates in the open to prevent secret backroom dealings with your estate. But it means you have to be very careful about what sensitive information you include in the text of the will itself.
Especially regarding tech, right? Which we will definitely address when we get to digital security later on.
For sure.
Which actually brings us to the tech side of the jargon. So, since you are listening to the Senior Techie, you likely already use, or at least know about, a cloud photo library.
Right, like iCloud or Google Photos.
Exactly. We talk about the cloud all the time as a great way to back up photos. But how does the cloud actually function when we look at it through the lens of estate planning?
Well, people tend to picture the cloud as some invisible ether floating above us in the sky.
Yeah, a literal fluffy cloud.
Right. But from an estate perspective, you really need to view the cloud as a highly secure, heavily guarded, fireproof physical storage facility located halfway across the country.
Because it's actually just a massive warehouse of computers, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a server farm in a place like Virginia or Oregon. So imagine you have locked all your irreplaceable family photos inside this giant fortress. They are perfectly safe from a flood or a fire in your hometown. But the door to your specific storage unit, it requires a unique key.
The password.
The password, right. And if you pass away and haven't given your family the legal authority and that specific key to open the door, they can stand outside the facility all they want, but the tech companies will not let them in.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. So those memories are just locked away forever.
Pretty much. which is why managing those keys is so critical.
Right. And here at the Senior Techie, we talk a lot about password managers as the solution for keeping track of those keys.
They're lifesavers.
They really are. A password manager is kind of like a heavy-duty physical iron lockbox bolted to your floor in your office.
I like that analogy.
Thanks. So you drop all your individual keys in there, your email password, your bank password, the key to that photo storage facility. Then you only have to memorize one single master key to open the heavy iron lid.
Which is brilliant for daily use.
Right. But here is the estate planning catch. Having that lockbox in your house is completely useless if your executor legally doesn't have the master key or the authority to use it.
That is the crucial disconnect right there. People set up this incredible digital security for themselves while they're alive, but they accidentally lock their own families out after they are gone.
Yeah.
We are going to explore exactly how to pass that master key on safely. But first, we need to address the psychology of why people avoid this entire process in the first place.
Oh, procrastination.
Exactly. The research is remarkably consistent on this. Putting off your estate planning, it costs your family immensely, both financially and emotionally.
Well, I definitely understand the delay, though. The assumption is usually that you need to, schedule a meeting at some intimidating mahogany-paneled law firm, sit through a stressful interrogation, and then get hit with a bill for thousands of dollars.
Right. It feels like a massive chore.
Yeah, and frankly, no one wants to sit on their couch on a beautiful afternoon and ponder their own mortality.
The anticipation is undeniably heavy for sure. But we have to look at the mechanics of what happens when you avoid it.
Okay.
If you die without a will, which in legal terms is called dying intestate, you don't actually avoid the legal system. You actually force your family much deeper into it.
Really? How so?
Well, the state you live in has a default formula for who gets your assets. And the state does not care if you were estranged from a sibling or if you had promised your house to a specific child.
Oh, right. It's just a rigid system.
Exactly. The state applies a mathematical formula, and your family has to spend months, sometimes years, paying lawyers to untangle the mess, all while they're just trying to grieve.
Wow. It reminds me of putting off a really awkward phone call for a month.
Yes, perfect comparison.
You dread it, it ruins your mornings, and when you finally just pick up the phone and make the call, it takes maybe 5 minutes, and the relief is just instant.
Absolutely.
So if we are finally making that call, so to speak, and creating the foundational blueprint of a will, what are the actual mechanical requirements? Like, what does this document physically have to do?
So a basic will executes 3 primary functions. First, it names an executor.
The project manager.
Exactly, the project manager of your estate. They are the person who will, order the death certificates, freeze your bank accounts, pay your final taxes, and distribute your assets.
Okay, that's one.
Second, it appoints a guardian for any minor children or adult dependents.
Very important.
And third, it dictates who inherits your financial and physical assets. You are essentially overriding the state's default formula with your own explicit instructions.
Okay, so if I know what I want to do, but I really don't want to go to that mahogany law office, what are my legal alternatives? I mean, can I just write this out on a piece of notebook paper?
Well, it depends entirely on your state's laws, which is why organizations like the American Bar Association and AARP provide free state-specific guides.
Right.
But yes, some states do recognize holographic wills, which are entirely handwritten and signed by you.
Oh, holographic. I always think of sci-fi when I hear that.
I know, it's a funny term, but it just means handwritten.
Got it.
And many states also allow statutory wills, which are simple fill-in-the-blank templates that are actually written right into state law.
Oh, that sounds easy.
It is. There are also reputable online services that guide you through a questionnaire and generate a legally binding document. The key thing here is that the execution of the document, meaning exactly how it is signed and witnessed it, must perfectly follow your state's rules, or the court will just throw it out.
So you still have to cross your T's and dot your I's? Okay, let's shift to the assets themselves, because this part of the research completely surprised me. We tend to focus on the big numbers, right? The house, the retirement accounts, the life insurance policy.
Naturally.
But the data shows that the financial assets aren't actually what tear families apart in probate court.
No, they really aren't. The most vicious legal battles are almost always fought over the sentimental
Or
traps.
sentimental traps.
Yes, the rusty tools in the garage, the photo albums, the costume jewelry, or, a specific cast iron skillet.
Why in the world do families fight over a cast iron skillet but not a massive bank account? I mean, that makes no sense.
Well, think about it logistically. You can take a bank account with $50,000 in it, draw a line right down the middle, and give two children $25,000 each.
Right, it's perfectly divisible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you cannot cut a grandfather clock in half.
No, you definitely can't.
When you leave the physical items vague, saying something in your will like, my children should divide my personal property evenly, you are forcing them to assign monetary and emotional value to completely unique items.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It is.
Yeah.
Because the emotional attachment to that grandfather clock is tangled up in grief and childhood memories. Leaving those specific items unspecified is essentially leaving a grenade in the middle of your living room.
Okay, I definitely see the logic there, but logistically, how do we solve this? Let's say I write my formal will today. Then next year, my grandson takes a sudden interest in woodworking, and I decide, you know what, I want him to have my antique hand planes. Do I really have to hire a lawyer and draft a brand new will, get new witnesses, and go through all that formal execution just to leave some hand tools to my grandson?
You don't, provided your state allows for a mechanism called a personal property memorandum.
A memorandum? What is that?
A memorandum is just a separate, simple list of specific physical items and who gets them. You literally just write, the grandfather clock goes to Sarah, the antique hand planes go to David.
And how does a random list on a piece of paper hold up in a court of law?
It works through a legal concept called incorporation by reference.
Okay.
In your main formal will, you include a specific clause that says something like, I leave my personal property according to a memorandum attached to this will.
Oh, I see. So the main will points to the list.
Exactly. By mentioning the list in the formal witnessed will, you give that separate list legal power. And the real beauty of this mechanism is that in most states, you can rewrite, cross out, or update that memorandum whenever you want, sign it, and stick it back with your will.
Without needing a lawyer or witnesses for every single change.
Exactly. It is so much easier.
That offers an incredible amount of flexibility for physical heirlooms. But, there's a massive gap in everything we have just discussed.
Wow.
Well, a traditional will covers the house, the savings, and the grandfather clock. But our lives are increasingly digital now. We have email archives, digital subscriptions, online banking.
Ah, yes, the digital gap. This is really the frontier of estate planning right now. Traditional wills were designed entirely for a physical world. They say absolutely nothing about your digital footprint.
Right.
If you rely solely on a traditional will, your executor is going to hit a brick wall when they try to manage your online life.
Okay, so let me challenge the approach here. If the goal is to make things as frictionless as possible for my executor, why wouldn't I just take my master password for my password manager, write it down in, say, paragraph 4 of my formal will, and just be done with it?
Oh, please do not do that.
But it's one single document. It goes directly to the executor. Why complicate it?
We have to bring back the probate analogy. Remember the public bulletin board?
Oh.
Yes. If you put your master password in your formal will, the moment your executor files that document with the probate court, it becomes public record.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyone who pulls that file now has the master key to your email, your bank accounts, your photo library, and your entire digital identity.
That is a catastrophic security risk.
It is the worst thing you could do. Passwords must never go in the will itself.
That makes perfect sense when you think about it that way. So, practically speaking, how does an executor gain access to the password manager or the digital accounts without violating that security?
You have to separate the map from the treasure.
The map and the treasure.
The will is the map. Your private, secure location is the treasure. So you can write your master password on a piece of paper and lock it inside a physical, fireproof safe in your home.
Got it.
And then, in your formal will, you simply state who inherits the safe and who has the legal authority to access its contents.
Okay, that's a great workaround for the passwords. But what about the tech companies themselves? I know Apple and Google have built-in systems for this now, don't they?
They do, and they are absolutely essential because of how digital ownership works.
Right, because we don't really own anything anymore.
Exactly. You don't actually own your digital books, your music, or even your email account the way you own a physical book on a shelf. You license them.
Yeah.
And the terms of service usually state that the account is non-transferable upon death.
So wait, if my executor just logs into my account using my password, they are technically violating the platform's terms of service.
Yes. And in some jurisdictions, that actually violates computer fraud laws.
So even with the password, the executor could be locked out or end up in legal trouble.
Yes, it's a huge mess. To solve this, you need to use the specific tools provided by the platforms.
Okay, how do those work?
Well, Apple has a feature called Legacy Contact. You go into your settings while you are alive, select a trusted person, and Apple generates a special access key.
Okay.
If you pass away, that person provides the key and your death certificate to Apple, and Apple legally grants them access to your iCloud data.
That's brilliant. What about Google?
Google has a similar feature called the Inactive Account Manager.
Yeah.
Basically, you are giving the platform legal instructions on what to do with your data when you are gone.
And the book we mentioned earlier goes into this.
Yes, Who Gets Your Passwords goes into granular detail on how to set these up for every major platform. It's a fantastic resource.
Okay, so we have covered the legal mechanics of probate, the emotional weight of physical heirlooms, and the technical hurdles of the digital estate.
We've covered a lot.
We have. And the objective of the Senior Techie is to ensure you feel capable of tackling these challenges. So, to build momentum, let's establish a really practical order of operations. What is the very first hurdle to clear?
The first hurdle is simply assessing where you are right now. Locate your current estate documents. If you have a will, check the date.
Does the date matter that much?
It does. The estate planning community uses the 5-year rule. If your document is more than 5 years old, it is time for a review.
Oh, wow. Only 5 years?
Yes, because tax laws shift, state probate laws change, and families evolve. Witnesses move away or pass away. 5 years is the absolute maximum threshold. You should let it sit untouched.
Okay, so once we have located the document and checked the date, what is the next logistical step?
You need to have a frank conversation with the person you intend to name as your executor. Do not surprise them with this responsibility.
It's not exactly a fun surprise gift.
No, it is not. Being an executor is a demanding job. It requires organization, patience, and dealing with bureaucracies and sometimes really difficult family dynamics. You need to ask them directly if they're willing to take on that burden.
Assuming they agree, we move on to drafting the content. I imagine this is where we handle those sentimental traps we talked about.
Exactly. Step 3 is to take a walk through your house. Open the garage, look in your jewelry box, check the basement.
Just take inventory.
Right. Write down a list of any specific physical items that hold emotional weight and explicitly name who they should go to. Then check if your state allows you to attach that list as a personal property memorandum.
Which leads directly into step 4, verifying the legal requirements of your specific location.
Correct. You must look up your state's laws regarding witnesses and notaries.
Are they that different from state to state?
They really are. Some states require 2 disinterested witnesses, meaning people who are not inheriting anything from you, to watch you sign.
Okay.
Some states require a notary public to make the will self-proving.
Self-proving. What does that mean?
It basically speeds up the probate process immensely because the court doesn't have to track down your witnesses years later to verify their signatures. The notary stamp proves it.
That saves so much time.
It does. And if you use a free tool from a group like the American Red Cross, they usually provide the specific instructions for your state, but it's entirely on you to follow them perfectly.
Okay, so the final step in this process must be ensuring all of this work doesn't just collect dust for another decade.
Spot on. Put a recurring appointment on your calendar for 1 year from today.
An annual review.
Yes. Estate planning is not a one-and-done event. It is a living strategy that needs to adapt as your life changes. By scheduling an annual review, you ensure your family is never left relying on outdated instructions.
That is so smart.
And for a structured guide to all of this, the National Institute on Aging publishes a brilliant, plain English checklist for getting your affairs in order. It organizes the paperwork without any hidden fees or sales pitches.
That sounds like a perfect place to start. We have focused heavily on the mechanics in this conversation. You know, how to stop subscriptions, how to bypass probate, how to handle the law. But there really is a deeper layer to all of this preparation.
There really is.
Yeah.
As you go through your digital and physical assets, consider the actual legacy you are leaving behind.
Mm-hmm.
It is so easy to view organizing your digital estate as just another cybersecurity chore. But think about what actually lives in those cloud servers.
A lot of memories.
Exactly. The decades of email correspondence with old friends, the digital photos of your grandchildren growing up, the recipes you've saved, the digital journals you've kept.
It's your whole life.
It is. When you take the time to organize this and provide legal access to your executor, you aren't just managing assets, you are intentionally preserving the narrative of your life.
Wow. You are ensuring your unique story survives for the next generation to understand and appreciate.
That is a powerful way to look at it. This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to receive their free newsletters, you can subscribe at subscribes.theseniortechie.com.